The Samsung Galaxy Tab Active 5 is a very exciting 8-inch outdoor tablet that is rugged built and protected against water, dust and shocks. I loved its predecessor, and here too we get a 3-in-1 device, as it can be a tablet, smartphone and desktop PC in one. Compared to the Active 3, the display in particular has improved. However, it hasn't improved much in one respect and has even deteriorated in another. For my review, I compared the Active 5 with the iPad mini 6, as this is currently our winner among 8-inch tablets. The design of the Galaxy Tab Active 5 is very special, as it is not intended to look particularly slim or elegant. Instead, it has to withstand tough conditions in factories, on construction sites, and possibly in the military. It is a rugged outdoor tablet that is protected against water and dust in accordance with the IP68 standard. This means you can take it into water up to 1.5 meters deep for up to 30 minutes. It's also resistant to MIL-STD 810H and can withstand accidental drops. You can even clean it with disinfectant. According to Samsung, it can withstand a fall from 1.5 meters without a cover and a fall from 1.8 meters with the protective cover that's included with the tablet. The Active 5 looks very robust. It is made of plastic on the outside and feels very sturdy. The back can be removed easily to replace the battery. That's right, it's one of very few devices where you can change the battery yourself, just like it was possible about 10 years ago with most devices. If you want, you can even use the tablet without the battery, in a truck for instance. To do this, simply remove the battery and plug it into the power supply. Samsung has built an earpiece into the top center, as you can also make phone calls with the 5G version of the Active 5. Next to it is a 5-megapixel front camera that takes pretty good pictures. There are 3 physical buttons under the display, as we used to see on all Android devices in the past. So you can use them even when wearing protective gloves. A fingerprint reader is built into the home button, which works quite quickly and reliably without gloves of course. There's a USB-C 2.0 port and a normal headphone jack on the bottom. On the left there's a connection for an optional charging dock and a microSD card slot. With the 5G version that I have, there's also space for a SIM card, but you can also use an eSIM. I think it's a shame that it only has a USB 2.0 port, as this means you can't connect external monitors. This was possible with the predecessor and was one of the reasons why I thought it was so great. To the right of the tablet are the volume controls, the power button and an action button, which you can assign as you wish. On the back is a 13-megapixel camera with an LED flash, which takes pretty good pictures, especially for a tablet, and videos can be recorded in 4K. A protective cover is included with the device, which makes the rugged tablet even more resistant. It's made of a stretchy plastic. This case is also useful if you don't need such a rugged tablet, as there's a storage slot at the top for the included S Pen. The Galaxy Tab Active 5 has an 8-inch IPS display with a Full HD resolution of 1920 by 1200 pixels. At 8 inches, this is definitely high resolution enough for the screen to look nice and sharp. It's fully laminated and protected by Gorilla Glass 5. I think the display is a big highlight of the Active 5 because at 600 nits, it's brighter than most Android tablets and just as bright as the 11-inch iPad Pro. It's even 100 nits brighter than the iPad mini, which is otherwise our top choice among 8-inch tablets. But it also needs to be bright for outdoor use, and 600 nits is just about enough for that. I also think it's great that the display supports 120Hz. This is particularly useful for the S Pen, but also for smooth animations in general and for some games. However, I cannot recommend the Galaxy Tab Active 5 as an entertainment tablet despite the good display. This is due to the one speaker, which is located at the bottom next to the headphone jack. Considering that the speaker is so small, the sound is actually quite good, but noticeably weaker than the iPad mini. In addition to that, the sound comes from just one side when holding it in landscape view, so when you're watching a movie, there's no stereo separation. But yes, it's not supposed to be an entertainment tablet anyways. As with its predecessor, the S Pen is included. Technically, it works in the same way as other S Pen tablets, but it is also IP68 protected against water and dust and looks much more rugged than other Samsung pens. The S Pen therefore works in the same way as the Galaxy Tab S9 FE, for example, and is therefore ideal for handwritten notes and drawing. It's very precise, responds very quickly, and is really well implemented overall. The same software features are also supported. These include the S Pen commands and the Samsung Notes app. This makes the Active 5 the best 8-inch Android tablet with a pen at the moment. The Galaxy Tab Active 5 is powered by a Samsung Exynos 1380 processor with 6 or 8 GB of RAM. The internal storage can be 128 GB or 256 GB in size, and optionally you can get it with 5G and it supports GPS and NFC, and the Wi-Fi version also has GPS. My benchmark comparison shows that the performance of the Active 5 is comparable to the Galaxy Tab S9 FE. No wonder, because both have exactly the same processor. In terms of performance, it's therefore a mid-range tablet, which is why the Lenovo Legion Tab and the iPad mini perform a good deal better. It's interesting to note that the graphics performance of the Active 3 is better. This is also confirmed by the 3D Mark Wildlife test. The performance is good, but not on the same level as some flagship tablets. I think that's a bit of a shame, because the predecessor was very powerful by the standards of the time, and it did have flagship performance. Well, we know the Exynos 1380, and as with the S9 FE, the performance is good enough for all common apps. Intensive multitasking is also possible. Obviously, the Active 5 is many things, but not a gaming tablet. Nevertheless, I tried out a few games. PUBG Mobile runs great with HDR graphics, but you can't select higher ones. I was also able to install Fortnite and set the graphics quality to epic and the 3D resolution to 100% even. It actually runs surprisingly well. In action scenes, however, the frame rate can quickly drop well below 20 FPS, which is not enough, of course. It runs better after I reduced the 3D resolution to 75%, and it's nice and smooth when you set the graphics to high instead of epic. So it's not a high-end gaming tablet, but it does support demanding games. I have the 5G version of the Galaxy Tab Active 5, and you can make phone calls with this variant. In fact, the tablet behaves exactly like a large smartphone in almost all respects, just with an 8-inch display. The sound quality of the earpiece is good, and I had normal conversations with the tablet, just like with my smartphone. Of course, you can also receive text messages, install WhatsApp, and use it normally, as well as use the tablet as a hotspot for other devices. As with its predecessor, the Active 5 is a 3-in-1 thanks to 5G and the earpiece. It's a tablet, a smartphone for making phone calls, and thanks to Samsung DeX, also a replacement for your desktop computer. Let's get to the software. Android 14 and One UI version 6 are pre-installed out of the box. According to Samsung, they want to provide it with major operating system updates for 4 years and security updates for 5 years. I think that's great and very exemplary of Samsung. I don't have much to say about the software because the tablet runs exactly the same software as other Samsung tablets and smartphones, and I think the software is very well implemented. I like the fact that the Samsung Notes app is pre-installed, and it's also great that the Samsung DeX desktop mode is supported on an 8-inch tablet. Well, at least partially. You can't actually use DeX without an external screen. I guess because the display is too small and Samsung doesn't have an interface for it, maybe. As I said, it's also a pity that the tablet only has a USB 2.0 port without monitor support. So how do you connect the screen? Unfortunately, this is only possible wirelessly with the TV. I used Samsung DeX with the Active 5 on my LG TV and used the tablet as a trackpad. It actually works pretty well. Compared to its predecessor, Samsung DeX is therefore limited, which I think is a shame. It can still be useful for business users who travel a lot and want to connect the Active 5 to the TV in the hotel room, for instance. In my battery test, the Active 5 lasted exactly 7.5 hours. Considering the bright display, that's a pretty good result. For this test, I always run an HD YouTube video at maximum brightness, and in this case at 120 Hz in an endless loop. The Samsung Galaxy Tab Active 5 proved to be a really good 8-inch tablet in my review, especially if you're looking for a rugged outdoor device that is protected against water, dust, and drops. I particularly like the fact that the display is bright at 600 nits and that the S Pen is included. It's also great that it will receive software updates for so long and that you can also make phone calls with the 5G version. On the other hand, I think it's a shame that the graphics performance hasn't improved compared to its predecessor, but has actually gotten worse. It's not a gaming tablet as a result. Due to the one speaker, I can't recommend it as an entertainment tablet anyway. It's also unfortunate that we only get a USB 2.0 port and that the tablet cannot be connected to an external monitor by wire, but only wirelessly to a TV. This might be useful for some, but with the predecessor you could connect any monitor. Despite these two disadvantages, the Active 5 remains an excellent tablet, at least if you're looking for a rugged device that is protected against shocks, water and dust. If you don't need a rugged tablet, you can also go for the iPad mini. And if you want an 8-inch Android tablet, the Lenovo Legion Tab has recently become available outside of China. I really liked it in my review. It was initially only available in China, but has now officially finally made it to Europe. Be sure to check out my review of it.